Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Yende. Can neuroscience help us heal from grief? Not erase it, not suppress it, but move through it with greater understanding, greater steadiness, and greater compassion? The answer increasingly appears to be yes. And surprisingly, the process begins not just in the mind, but in the body. Most people think of grief as something purely emotional, something that lives only in the heart. But grief is also profoundly biological. It touches every system we have. Heart rate changes, sleep patterns change, hormones shift, breathing becomes shallow or irregular. Immune function can be affected, brain activity changes. In truth, the entire organism responds when we lose someone we love. Researchers studying grief have found something especially important. People who experience prolonged or complicated grief often show abnormal cortisol rhythms. Cortisol is the body's primary stress hormone, the chemical that helps us respond to threat and strain. Under normal conditions, it rises in the morning to help us wake and engage with the day, then gradually falls as evening approaches. But in complicated grief, that natural rhythm can become disrupted. Evening cortisol remains elevated. The nervous system has difficulty standing down. The body stays alert long after the danger has passed. Rest becomes harder. Recovery becomes more difficult. Sleep is interrupted. The body, in a sense, remains braced for impact. This is where the vagus nerve enters the story. The vagus nerve is one of the body's main recovery pathways. It acts like a quiet bridge between the brain and the organs, helping regulate heart rate, digestion, and emotional calm. When it functions well, it supports relaxation. It helps the body shift out of survival mode and back into restoration mode. It reminds the system that it is safe enough to soften. One powerful tool for supporting this process is deliberate breathing. Longer exhales, slower, more intentional breathing, gentle awareness of the breath moving in and out. These simple practices can increase vagal activity and help regulate emotional states during grief. They do not remove pain, but they can create enough physiological stability for pain to be felt without becoming overwhelming. Another critical factor is sleep. Grief changes the brain, but much of the brain's rewiring happens during sleep. This is part of neuroplasticity, the nervous system's remarkable ability to reorganize itself in response to experience. During sleep, the brain processes memories, adjusts predictions, and slowly updates its internal map of the world. The attachment remains, the loss remains. But over time, the brain begins to recognize a new reality and make room for it. This is why sleep is not a luxury during grief. It is therapy, biological therapy. Morning sunlight may also play a meaningful role. Natural light helps regulate circadian rhythms, anchors the body's internal clock, supports healthier cortisol timing, and improves sleep quality. It can also strengthen emotional resilience by helping the nervous system distinguish day from night, activity from rest, vigilance from recovery. And perhaps one of the most powerful practices is what psychologists call intentional grieving. This means setting aside dedicated time to grieve on purpose. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. A quiet space to remember, to reflect, to feel, to write, to let the reality of the attachment be present without distraction, without avoidance, and without running away from the ache it brings. Because healing does not happen when we stop feeling. Healing happens when we allow ourselves to feel safely, again and again, until the brain and body begin to learn that this pain can be carried. Until the nervous system realizes that it does not have to resist every wave. Until, little by little, a new equilibrium emerges. Grief is not a disease, it is evidence that love existed. And neuroscience is increasingly showing us that recovery is not about forgetting. Recovery is about adaptation. The attachment remains, the story remains, the love remains, but the nervous system learns how to carry it. I'm Dr. Yende, this is OXYZEN Health Intelligence. And remember, the goal of grief is not to move on from someone. The goal is to learn how to move forward with the love they left behind.